slow-mo, showboat, rowboat, wave ride. Cool shorty, too naughty, pool party, wet for the face ride. Annie up, penny down, hand me down, thrift store, old drip. New money, too funny, old shorty, talk about old shit.
Hey guys, Mark the Mentor here, back with another video. In this video, I want to go over some legal stuff. I want to talk about a non-compete clause and why a non-compete clause is important for your box truck business. All right, so a non-compete clause is something that I feel everyone that is running a box truck business, trucking business that deals with contracts, I feel that you need to have this in place between you and your employees or you and your drivers. In most cases, when you're dealing with logistics companies, larger companies that you're running freight through, they'll have a non-compete clause already with you somewhere in your contract. So you probably need to go through, read your contract and make sure it's in there. You kind of want to have one with them as well. So in this video, I'm going to go over what it is. I'll give you some scenarios where a non-compete clause has helped me in my business and why it's important for you to have it. So what is a non-compete clause or a non-compete agreement? I'm going to read you the definition here. I'll put it up on the screen as well. A non-compete agreement is a legal agreement or clause in a contract specifying that an employee must not enter into competition with an employer after the employment period is over. These agreements also prohibit the employee from revealing proprietary information or secrets to any other parties during or after employment. Many contracts specify a certain length of time when the employee is barred from working for a competitor after they end employment. Employers may require employees to sign non-compete agreements to keep their place in the market. Those required to sign these agreements may include employees, contractors, and consultants. So this is why the non-compete clause or the non-compete agreement is important for your box truck business. You guys have contracts, right? You got contracts with the logistics companies, you got contract with the manufacturers, you got contract with Amazon Relay. Whoever you're contracted through or whatever accounts you have that your box trucks are running through, these are agreements between you, the business owner, and those companies, right? Your drivers fall in the middle of that. And this is where it gets tricky, right? Your drivers are driving, all right? They're out there driving all day. If they're OTR, they're driving all day. All they're looking at is green pasture, and they have nothing but time on their hands to think. And while they're thinking, eventually it's going to cross their minds that, hey, you know what? I can do this myself. I don't need Mark, or I don't need whatever your company is called. And then they're going to start soliciting their stuff. They're going to start paying even more attention to everything that you're doing, including the companies that you're sending them to, right? All right. So they know everything about your business as far as being out there on a truck, in the field, your contracts, your accounts, and things of that nature. We call these trade secrets, right? You have to protect yourself and your business. Same thing with the companies, all right? The companies, hey, we see you here a lot. You work for Mark, right? Yeah, that guy has quite a few trucks, right? Yeah, ever thought about doing this yourself? Why don't you get your own truck and do it yourself? Yeah, you know, you can get a contract with us too. You might as well make some money. No reason for that guy to make all the money, right? And I'm telling you guys this because it happens. It has happened to me numerous of times, all right? Let me give you an example of what has happened to me in the past, and then maybe it'll put it into better perspective. I've talked about it, I think, before on a live, but I've never talked about it in a video. This will be a great example. I had an account with Dynamics. We were running Office Depot, right? Dynamics had 43 routes here in Chicago for Office Depot. I had 9 of them, right? Out of the 9 routes I had one really superb driver. He was my best driver for that route. Out of the 9, he was the best one. He was back the earliest every day. He could get 70, 80 stops done and be back to the yard by 2 o'clock. Superb guy, superb driver, right? Dynamics was trying to peel this guy away from me. And here's why. Out of the 43 routes that they had, my 9 routes, I got a guarantee on my routes. So my guarantee was $300 per day per truck. So that was what, $2,700 a day gross, right? The reason why I was able to get a guarantee is because I had leverage. And when they asked me, could I do this account, they were really in dire need. I was already running their IKEA through Dynamics. So I said, if you want me to bring on these many trucks, I need a guarantee. They said, okay. After the contract got kind of corrected and things were cool and Office Depot was okay, they wanted to switch me over to a per piece model. I can't make money on a per piece because the piece count fluctuates every single day. You know, what if I send a truck and that one particular truck only has 50 pieces? That's only $50 at $1 per piece, right? I lose money because my driver has a minimum guarantee of $100. At that time, I'm burning like $40, $50, $60 a day on each route in fuel. So I'm at a loss. I can't operate on a per piece count. All right. So they wanted to get me out. They called me in for plenty meetings to try to renegotiate. I wouldn't budge. All right. They started going after this guy because they knew that, you know what, if we can get this guy and peel him away, we can get rid of Mark altogether. But they didn't want to lose him because not only was he my best guy, he was the best driver out of all the other 43 routes too. As far as that contract was concerned, my one guy, he was the best out of all 43 routes. They wanted him bad. So they started training him, telling him what to do, right? Man, you get you a truck, we're going to give you this account, right? They didn't tell him that once they persuaded him to get in the truck and get in the account with them, that they were going to let me go. All right. So long story short, this guy ended up learning. He learned a lot from me. He was a smart guy. You know what I'm saying? One day I noticed that the insurance, well, you know what? Let's fast forward because I want to make this video quick. I get a call from Grange one day. Grange is the insurance company. They said, hey, Mark, we got to pull this driver off your insurance. I said, why are you pulling him? He still works for me. Well, he just filed with under another corporation, so he can't be running for 2 different companies commercially. So we have him filed on another company, so we have to drop him from your policy. So I'm thinking that's strange, right? So I go on the truck when the truck comes back later that day, and I notice the insurance paperwork that is on every truck is gone, right? Didn't mention it to him, right? Somebody else came in the office. You know, you always got whistleblowers, right? Somebody blew a whistle and said, you know, I think this guy is going to be leaving soon. Just giving you the heads up. 2 days later, he comes in, he gives me his 2-week notice. So at this point, I'm not thinking, you know, they had been soliciting him to come to Dynamics, right? I'm thinking he just wanted to expand and do his own thing, right? But I should have known when I noticed the insurance. Obviously, he took the insurance with him and called my insurance company. He took my whole setup, everything that I was doing, he basically mimicked it. Few mistakes he made. He got a partner and they jumped out there with 4 trucks, right? They jumped out there with 4 trucks, and this is how Dynamics set them up. They set them up real good. I'm like, well, okay, that's fine. You want to run your own trucks. Why don't you just run under my authority? Let's keep everything in house. Let's show some type of unity. Just don't bounce on me, you know, like that. You know what I'm saying? Because you're my best guy there. And, you know, I just feel shaky with them. You know what I'm saying? Well, man, Mark, I'm trying to do my own thing. Blah, blah, blah. I want my own. I want to, you know, the success you got. I want to see some success. I want to see that same success. I'm saying you can see it. Just running under my authority. Take the 80-20 split. You get the 80, I take 20 running under my authority. Let's show some unity. because I had a feeling they was trying to snatch him away from me and cause some type of division. Long story short, we couldn't come to agreement. 2 weeks, he worked his 2 weeks, but on the last day, he took some drivers with him that were working for me on that account. Remember, he got the 4 trucks, right? So I'm steaming mad because now these guys he took with him, they didn't give me a 2 weeks. On his last day, he fulfilled his 2 week notice. Those guys just quit on me and left that day. Hey, Mark, this is our last day. We out. All right, so they bounce. All right, they bounce, and I'm left to think. Right, I'm thinking. I'm like, man, this is some dirty stuff, right? So I let a few days go past that next week, and because I'm upset, you know what I'm saying? But I got a non-compete clause with them, right? And I had a non-compete clause with my drivers. But see, I was only really concerned about him, right? So what they did was dirty, and for one, it was unethical. It was very unethical. You have a contract with this one company. You peel 4 of his drivers away. Now, mind you, they hadn't let me go yet, so I got my 5 other trucks still there, right? And then he's running him and his other 3 trucks. So he's running his 4 trucks, right? So I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. They can't do that. That's unethical. That violates the non-compete clause. So I call him, right? I said, man, I want to talk to the head guy. The head guy over that whole that branch, that particular branch. I got a chance to talk to him. I wanted to talk to him. I said, what you're doing, you can't do. It's unethical, and it violates the non-compete clause. The non-compete clause. So now he's talking stupid. See, what it was at that time, I was very young, right? And I think they just thought, man, this dude just has a bunch of trucks, some money, but he's not smart. He doesn't know business, right? So I said, I got a non-compete clause. I said, man, I'm giving you a verbal warning to do the right thing, all right? I don't want to have to, we don't want this to get ugly, because it can get ugly, because I got the contracts, all right? I have a non-compete clause with you guys, and I got a non-compete clause with my drivers. But the most important thing is the contract between my company and Dynamics. We have a non-compete agreement. You cannot touch my drivers. If my drivers leave me, you can't touch them for a year. So you know what they had to do? They had to let them go. Later on that day, guess who comes pulling up at my warehouse, in my yard? The guy who left. Now, his attitude was different now from the day he told me he was leaving. The day he told me he was leaving, it was, man, I'm trying to get to the bag too. I'm trying to get like you, right? Boom. Now, man, Mark, man, how you gonna do? Man, I'm trying to put food, I'm trying to put food on my table. It was more humble. It was more humble. But see, he allowed this company, and he's a good guy. I mean, when we bump into him, we're cordial. I have nothing against him. I'm just telling the story of why a non-compete clause is important. Because this is what happens. They took him, right? If I didn't have this in place, there would have been nothing I would have been able to do, and I would have lost 3 other drivers. See, it was a different attitude when he was leaving. These guys didn't even tell me they was leaving with him. But then when I had to, do what I had to do, the attitude shifted. Now I got a family. I got to put food. But see, I tried to warn you on the way to go about it the right way. But this is not about me and that person. This is about why a non-compete clause is important. So now you see why a non-compete clause is important, because a company will peel people away from you, and your drivers will leave too. You're going to always have drivers that are going to want to go out and spread their wings. But if you're running a company and you're dealing with contracts, they're out in the field. So they're seeing things, they're rubbing shoulders, they're talking to those people on the dock, those operations managers, those dock managers, and they can build up a rapport with these people and say, hey, I'm going to go get my own truck, and man, don't forget about me. You know what I'm saying? They know your whole setup, your whole operation. You don't want to have people working for you that are out there doing the work for you, learning your system, that know all your trade secrets. Because as soon as they get the money, as soon as they're ready to go off on their own, which is fine, but you don't want them to steal your contracts. You don't want the companies to solicit your guys, especially if you're a person with leverage, like how I had. You got leverage, they gonna really try to do it. So that was one example which kind of explained what a non-compete clause is. I'm glad I had an example to kind of break it down, so now you can see why it's important. You can get these contracts, non-compete clause, or any contract. There's different websites you can have subscriptions to. I would like to tell you the website that I use that's a subscription based, but I'm not, because I'm not going to do any more free promotion for a lot of these companies. But if you want to know who I use, feel free to go to Instagram and DM me, and I'll let you know. But in closing, make sure you guys implement a non-compete agreement into your contracts. It's very important. You don't want to have drivers knowing all your trade secrets and then go out on their own and then implement everything that you worked hard to build for themselves while they're taking money out your pocket and stealing your drivers. Same thing with these logistics companies. You don't want them to solicit your drivers that you had to go out and hire and train and invest time and money into, and then they just peel them away from you, right? And then these guys have all your trade secrets, and then they go implement everything that you built with that company. They go over there and do it for themselves, and they leave you high and dry. You can set it up where, you know, if somebody leaves your company for whatever reason, they just quit, you fire them, whatever, that they can't touch. If so, the way you set it up with the logistics companies is they can't touch none of your drivers for a year. So if the driver leaves you, they can't touch him for a year. If you lose the contract, they still can't touch your drivers for a year. The way you set it up with your drivers is they can't apply to any of the companies that you have contracts with, that they work for through your company after they leave your company for a minimum of a year. And then they can't, you know, sell or tell or talk about any of your company policies or trade any of your trade secrets. They can't talk about this stuff, all right? And if they do, you can sue them, and I'm telling you, it's a great lawsuit. I didn't finish that story because I didn't want to go into the personal side of what happened, you know, once he came into the office, but I ended the story with what you needed to know to understand why a non-compete clause is important. You know, I'm always here. If you got any questions, go to www.boxtruckcourses.com for your mentorship. Follow me on Instagram, follow me on TikTok, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, hit that notification bell so you can stay up to date with all the upcoming videos. And I'm out.
Go mode, showboat, rowboat, wave ride. Cool shorty, too naughty, pool party, wet for the face ride. Annie up, penny down, hand me down, thrift store, old drip. New money, too funny, old shorty, talk about, oh shit.